Good morning, everybody. Devotional. Living a year in surrender. In the beginning of the year is the perfect time to pause and reflect, not only to recognize all the reasons we have to be grateful, but to also allow to heal and grow in the year ahead. While reflecting, we may be reminded of hurt feelings. Rather than sweeping those feelings under the rug or let them create bitterness, we can choose the freedom of forgiveness. The first step towards forgiveness is surrender. Surrender can be the one word, though those words that make people squeamish, especially when it comes from forgiveness. We tend to equate it with losing the battle, waving a white flag to our enemy that can overtake us. But when we surrender to God, we can view it differently. With God, surrender means being open-handed with our lives, even our hurt and pain, so that God can heal us from it. He is full of love, mercy, compassion for each of us. We don't have to be afraid to give God our pain, because we can trust Him to be tender and handle our hearts with care. We can also trust God to be fair. It's natural for us to want to see someone pay the consequences for their actions. And they will one day. We may not see it, but they will. You have to remember that. It's not up to us to punish. It's up to God for God to judge what they've done. And if they've hurt you, they'll pay for that. We don't decide whether someone receives punishment or grace, and holding on to our needs for vengeance will only leave us with bitterness. And I always say it lets them have control of your life. And if they ask God to forgive them for what they did, God can show them grace. If we want to live in peace this year, we have to give our anger and pride over to God and focus on our own hearts. We must take consequence, choose to lay our pain and desire for control at the feet of God. Ask God to do the work in us. We have to acknowledge that we need His help. That means swallow your pride. To me, that's what that means. And so many of us are so prideful, and you blame others instead of saying, I did that, I'm sorry. It's really hard for people to swallow that pill. It doesn't taste very good. As Christ followers, forgiveness is something we do daily, even when we don't want to. Sometimes when we're working through forgiveness, we have to surrender the same pain to God multiple times. When old feelings stir up, we forgive again and again and again until it no longer upsets us. With God's grace, all things are forgivable. And I can tell y'all, the first time I experienced that, my mom was still alive and she died in 2000. And I called her. And I'm not going to tell y'all what happened. It's too much to tell. But I told her how I felt. And she said, how did you know? How do you know? And I said, because I'm not upset anymore. I didn't feel hurt. And I didn't feel angry. I didn't feel anything. I was just at peace. It was something that was going on with somebody. And every time I would see them, I'd get really emotional and have anxiety. And my heart rhythm would beat weird. And all kinds of stuff, just to kind of fill y'all in on a little bit of the highlights. and I saw that person randomly, and I felt happy because I knew immediately I didn't feel what I had been feeling before. And y'all, that's my first memory. I was probably in my 30s. If I ever experienced it before, I don't remember. But I was 30-something years old. And I called my mom to tell her that I was done with it. And she said, "How do you know?" And I said, "I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel hurt. I didn't feel upset. I didn't feel anything, y'all. I had like no emotion to it at all. It was just like, hey, how are y'all doing?" I guess you would have to know the whole story, but hopefully y'all can understand the point I'm trying to make there. But y'all, that really happens if you get your heart right. It can happen. You just ask God to lead you and for you to be able to forgive whoever hurt you for whatever reason. And in time it comes. It don't come always overnight, or maybe not even a few months. This particular thing took a few years. It really did. Now, I didn't see these people that often. But every time I hurt them, I ended up getting by myself and crying because I was hurt. I was upset. But anyway, back to the reading. Now, forgiveness doesn't mean what happened is okay, and it doesn't. It doesn't mean we let people continue to hurt us, and no, you shouldn't. You should stand up for yourself. Being a Christian does not mean you let people beat you up, and you defending yourself in a nice way does not mean, because the first thing that they're going to say is, well, a Christian wouldn't do that. Well, that's not true. I don't believe that for 1 minute. And I'm not here to debate or argue. This is only my opinion. You can take it for what it's worth, and some won't take it for anything, and that's fine too. Anyway, it doesn't mean you let people continue to hurt you. And it doesn't necessarily mean having a face-to-face conversation. But I will say this about that. Sometimes having a meeting with that person, whether they respond positive to you, if you go to them and they will listen, you get it off your chest and you let it go. And however they retaliate against you, you walk away from that because you've done what you're supposed to do, and you just pray about them and let them deal with what they need to do. But I have gone to people, and sometimes they accept that and sometimes they don't. But if they don't, like I've said many times, or told a friend or my sister or whoever I was talking to, I did all I could do. My daddy always told me, "Darling, do all you can do, and then when you can't do anything else, you have to let it go." So, if you go and you try to talk to them and reason and apologize or say, whatever it is on your heart to them, there's nothing else you can do about it after that. If you've asked God to forgive you, you have to let it go. Anyway, the person doesn't even have to still be alive for us to forgive them, because it's not about them. It's about acknowledging it and the moment that is just between us and God. That's what I'm saying. If you in your heart are truly sorry, or you've said whatever words it is that you need to say to put yourself at peace, then you need to let it go. If you ask God to forgive you, just let it go. It's not easy, but it can be done. I've done it, and I'm still working on it, y'all. I'm still working on a lot of stuff. I work on stuff every day. I don't mind telling y'all one bit, but that's the first step in healing or growing. And I can tell you that from all I've been through. If you can't acknowledge it's a problem, then you're not ever going to get anywhere. It's just not going to happen. And I know people that never apologize. Everything's always somebody else's fault. And I feel sorry for those people, because if you can't acknowledge you're wrong and that you do things wrong, and I'm not necessarily talking about sinning, just in daily life, then you're just wrong, because we all do wrong every day. We do wrong, and we do sin, and we have thoughts that we shouldn't, and that's just being in this fleshly body, y'all. And it's a battle every day. Getting saved and knowing Jesus is not a cakewalk. It's not for wimpy people. It's for people that have a backbone and can stand up, because the devil's going to come at you through people, through social media, through the TV, through the radio. I mean, he is going to hit you with a dart every time you turn around, and you just better get ready for it. I'm telling you. It's been that way my whole life. I got saved at a young age, 12, 13 years old, and I did really good until I became bitter and angry in my 20s because of a bad marriage and being abused. And I went through a lot of stuff up here that I've never even talked to anybody about from all that. But it changed me completely. The verbal abuse that I went through, y'all, totally changed me. But I can sit here today, and if you were here, look you in the eye and tell you that I am a better, stronger person, because I overcome every bit of it. Every bit of it. And if anybody needs help with that, I'd love to talk to you about it. I can tell you probably exactly how you're feeling. It might even be scary, like I'm in your head. But I'm going to tell y'all, people get in your head like that and they can mess you up. But I will not. I refuse, just like I do with the devil every day. I refuse to let that person have any control over me anymore. And I've said that for years. And I don't hate anybody. Actually, I feel sorry for them. I really do. To me, they're pitiful. I feel sorry for them. And some of y'all know who I'm talking about, but I'm not calling no names. But it is what it is. But they're not happy. And they're sick. And they're alone. And but karma comes back to you. Whether you believe in the Lord or not, you can just believe in science or whatever you want to believe in. But somehow, what you do, now I'm not saying everything you do, but most of what you do is going to come back to you somewhere in your life. And that's just the way it is. And from my observation, I talked about in other videos how I didn't talk a lot in the crowd. I watch people, and they don't even realize. It'll be like, why is this happening to me? Why does this happen to me? They don't have a clue. They don't have a clue of why things happen to them. And it's sad, and we need to pray for those people, that they can open their heart and open their eyes. One more paragraph. Don't take the offensive and hurt from last year or anytime, into this year. Let it go. If you need to talk to somebody, if you need to apologize, y'all do it. My advice to you is to do it and move forward and live your life. Let it go. I've had to let a lot go. I'm going to tell y'all, this past 10 years for me, until the last few months, it's been a living hell. I just plainly gonna put it out there for y'all. It has been the worst 10 years, probably of my whole life, for a lot of reasons. Bad, horrible relationships, people just walking off and leaving you, lying to you over and over again. There's just so many things I could tell y'all. I don't even know. I don't want to say too much, because if I don't explain everything I say, it might be confusing. Deaths. I've lost most of my family in the last 10 years. Both of my brothers. I have a sister that's still alive, and an aunt, and some cousins. But we were a tight, close-knit family. And in the last 10 years, my family has gone through a lot. And it's been really hard on me. And people say, change is good, and change is good. But I went from having a family around me weekly and in church with me weekly to totally being alone. I never had empty nest syndrome when my son got married. And about 6 years ago, I started experiencing that for about 3 years. Let me tell y'all, hardest thing I've ever went through in my life. And people can say I'm crazy. People can say you shouldn't be on social media telling this stuff. There's somebody that needs to hear it. There's somebody that needs to know that you're going to be okay, because I'm happy. I'm happy. I'm by myself probably 85% of the week. And I'm happy. I have lonely minutes, not a lot, but those can be easily overcome. I stay busy. I do so many things, gardening, cooking. I like for my house to be clean. If you do all these things that I do, you don't have no time to think or let no garbage come into your mind. You just don't. And I have learned to be an overcomer. And I just want to help y'all do that. I guess is maybe a part of why I'm doing this. I've always wanted to be able to reach more people, but didn't really know how to do it. And like I said in the other videos, thought about doing these videos, and you hear the devil saying, don't do that. Don't do that. They'll think you're stupid. Well, you know what? I don't care. Just plain don't care. I don't care. Getting old has been the best thing. When I turned 50, I loved it. And every birthday since, and I don't mind telling y'all, I'll be 65 this coming up June the 8th. And every year just gets better. I tell my son all the time, I love being old. If this is old, I like it. I don't really know what old is supposed to feel like. My foot, by the way, the ones of you that prayed for my foot, it's feeling a lot better the last couple of days. It's been kind of a rough 3 weeks with that, but I think I just had a really deep bruise on that broke foot. Well, it's not broke now, but it was broken. It has a heel spur, for those of you that don't know. And it's getting better. I stepped on something and hurt it pretty bad, but it just had to have time to heal. And I believe the Lord has sent it to me. Yesterday when I got up and put my foot on the floor, I told Brindley, "Oh, Mama's foot don't hurt today. It's gonna be a good day." But immediately I knew it was better. But y'all, I'm gonna get off here. I don't want to bore y'all too much with talking too long. But my numbers, watch numbers are going up, my watch hours, and I'm getting more subscribers, several a day, every day, and that encourages me. And if I don't ever get any more, that's fine. The ones of y'all that listen, y'all can listen. Maybe y'all are just the ones I'm supposed to talk to. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing, y'all. Y'all are just holding on and waiting to see what happens. I don't even know what's going to happen. But anyway, like I said, I've always wanted for years to do something. And y'all, me standing before a crowd, I don't think my knees would hold me up. I think I would totally collapse. But it's getting easier to look at a phone and talk like I feel like I'm a total idiot just looking at the phone, and I see myself and I'm just talking. So don't lock me up. Don't bring one of those beautiful white jackets and, put my arms up like this just yet, But y'all be blessed and have a good rest of the day. And I'm probably going to post this on Wednesday morning. And so y'all have a good day, and don't forget to say your prayers. And thank y'all so much for supporting my channel. This is a good thing for me. This is really good for me, and hopefully it's good for y'all. Thank you so much. See y'all in the next video.